Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton. Episode 130. We got a good lineup ahead of UFC Vegas 76. First up, I'm going to be joined by Terrance McKinney to preview his fight against Nazim Sadikov. This has performance bonus and fight of the night written all over it. Obviously, Terrance coming off that knockout loss to Ismail Bonfim back in January, disappointing loss. And since then, he switched camps. He's now working full time in Texas with Kevin Holland and then mixing in some work with Derek Lewis and Lord Murphy's camp over there. But really good chat with Terrance about this fight. He thinks Nazim's going to bring the best out of him. He's really been confident with his striking and his grappling that he sees some holes that he's really planning to exploit. He think he can get another stoppage win, kind of get right back on the track. We then are joined by Austin Lingo to preview his fight against Melchizedek Costa. Obviously, Austin coming off that loss to Nate Landry last time out. He really thinks that back-to-back weight cuts really impact his performance. Remember, he was supposed to fight Ricardo Ramos March 11th. Ricardo shows up way overweight, and then the fight gets scrapped. Then Austin gets called to step in and replace, and then step in on short notice to fight Nate Landwehr just 2 weeks later. Has to make 145 again. He says he wishes he would have asked for a catch weight, but he didn't think the weight cut would have that big of a performance, but it did. It really hindered his cardio. And then this one against Costa, coming off that loss to Thiago Moises in his UFC debut. Lingo said he saw a lot from that one. He thinks Costa's going to try to grapple him, but he's pretty confident he can keep us on standing and just box Costa up and win a decision or get that knockout he's after. And then we're going to be joined closing the show out is Evan Elder to preview his fight against Gennaro Valdez. Evan knows his 0-2 in the UFC. Arguably should have beaten Nazim in his last fight until that cut stopped him. He was up 2018 on the judges' scorecards. He was pretty pissed off about that cut, and then before that lost to Preston Parsons up at welterweight in a fight he took on short notice. But against Valdez, who's coming off 2 straight losses, got knocked out by Matt Favola, and then last time out lost a decision to Natan Levy. Evan thinks it's a very fan-friendly fight. He thinks it's going to remain standing, and he's confident he has the tools to knock out Valdez and really really start off his UFC career with a big win here, as he knows he's fighting for his job. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by UFC lightweight Terrance McKinney, who is finally back in action on July 15th. Terrance, how's it going, man?
Good, brother. Just woke up, feeling great. My weight's good, just waiting at 170, so we're doing what we're supposed to do, right on track.
Just your last fight, like, what do you kind of take away from that one? Like, obviously, having to go down to Brazil, not many fighters are too keen to go do that, and then fighting a debut guy, like, I know for you, you'll fight anyone, but, like, what do you kind of take away from that performance?
I would want to leave a little bit earlier. Just making sure I get more sleep, so making sure I, like, take a melatonin or something, because I really couldn't get to sleep because I was starving. And just making sure I'm controlling my nerves and just making sure I'm locked in and more disciplined. And just making sure I'm not throwing one strike at a time. I was kind of sluggish that fight, just making sure I have a good warm-up and just do everything that I need to do right.
With this one, like, returning in July, was this about the time frame you wanted, or is this a bit later than what you thought?
This is perfect. Gave me enough time to heal. Gave me enough time to change camps and really just get dialed in with the better technique with striking with Kev. So I think this is just perfect timing.
We were just talking off air that you went down to Texas. Like, what made you decide to go down to Texas to start training?
Kevin convinced me, man. Like, we clicked just like that. And then I liked what they were doing out here with my coach Shug and Coach Eric, Coach Luder. It's just like I'm just around the right people, and I'm losing that practice. Mm-hmm. So that's going to benefit me in the fight. So I'd rather lose here than in the fight. So everything is just perfect. Good training partners. Good push out here.
Who are the main guys you're working with then?
Well, it changes all the time. JP. We mix it up. I got Nico. I got this kid named Garrett that comes in, and we just cross train a lot. We go to Bob's gym, Main Street Boxing, Muay Thai. Just making sure I'm getting different looks and the best looks I can. We go all over Texas. It's pretty awesome.
How do you think that's going to benefit you in this one? Like, obviously, you've been with the same camp for a while, but now just getting, like, different insight from coaches and different looks, like, how do you think that'll benefit you in this one?
Huge, because I know when to swing and when not to swing. It's hot out here, so it's like training in altitude. So it's just been crazy. Yeah, I'm digging deep, and the coaches are making sure, like, I break myself every day so I can get to another level.
Have you moved to Texas, or do you just go out there for fight camps then?
No, I moved here.
Okay, like you got the whole family with you and everything then.
Yes, sir. We're out here, and it's been a great move for me so far.
Who's gonna be in your corner then? Like, I imagine it'll be obviously the coaches, but who is gonna be it?
It's gonna be my original coach Pablo, Coach Shug, and Coach Justin.
And then with Nazim, like, how familiar were you with him when you got this fight offer?
Not too familiar, but I watched his fights. He likes to come forward, and yeah, it's gonna make for an exciting fight, especially in the Apex. I'm ready to show the new fundamentals in my striking. My defense is way better. Yeah, just expect another flawless victory in the first round, especially at the Apex. I fight way better there.
Are you? You said you fight better there, but are you disappointed at the Apex? Like, I know you always like fighting in front of the crowd.
Yeah, it's all right though. I like the Apex too because then it's just like sparring. I can just go have fun out there, no pressure.
With Nazim, like he always comes forward like a striker, but pretty much when anyone fights you, they always kind of shoot. So do you expect him to kind of wrestle at some point?
I expect him to change up the game because like everyone knows I'm not one of the fighters you can just bull rush in the first round or you're gonna get leveled. I think I got the power and speed advantage, so I expect him to try to play his distance the first round and then turn it up the second round. But it's not going to matter this time because I know I did everything possible to come with the best cardio I ever had.
You have like a 4 inch reach advantage as well. Like how important do you think that will be in the fight?
Oh, it's going to be huge, especially now that I know how to pump that jab out. Like I said, we're going to be too long, too fast. And yeah, we're going to pick them apart, and I'm excited.
I know your cardio is something you've always been working on. Like I know you've hired like people and then going to tag things you're working on. Like, like, do you kind of want this fight to go late to show off the cardio, or do you rather end it in the first and kind of keep that in your back pocket till you kind of need to show it off?
I'm ready to just outclass them all 3 rounds. We're going to show a different Terrance, a clean Terrance that can go all 3 rounds and just be clean all around with the defense, with the striking, and making sure I'm actively throwing the hands and actively kicking, just staying active the whole time, not one strike at a time, so I don't get countered, getting my head off the center line. Yeah, we. I'm excited. Everyone thinks it's sweet. Don't think I'm technical, but they're about to see a new Terrence July 15th.
Do you think like the cardio played a role in both your losses then in the UFC? Because like with Drew, like I know it was short notice, but like you had a lot of success, and you kind of caught Drew with the last one. Like I know it was only the second round, but like, do you think the cardio played a role in those losses then?
A little bit, and just being over aggressive. I just had to find a happy fine line. My last fight, I wasn't too aggressive, and I think if I was a little bit more aggressive, I think we could have did more damage, and it could have been a different fight. So just making sure I'm finding a happy median.
How do you kind of get to that point where like we've seen what you could do if you rush someone like Matt and you knock him out early, and then like even with Drew, you had a lot of success. But then how do you kind of like you keep that going so you're still that dangerous fighter, but then like not overexert yourself like you did against Drew?
Um, just making sure, like I know when to burst and know when to calm down. That's what we figured out, and yeah, I'm excited to showcase it. Just making sure I'm aggressive and being first, but at the same time knowing when to step back, knowing when I don't have to slip and exert energy, and just use hand blocks. Yeah,
How much pressure is on you going to this one? If just coming off the loss, like, is there any?
not to me at all. Every time I'm here to have fun, and when I have something to prove, that's when I have the most fun. So, my back against the wall, that's when I have the most fun. So, I'm excited. I don't like losing two in a row, and I'm not gonna let it happen. And like I said, it's gonna be a fun fight.
With Nazim, like he seems like a pretty durable dude. Like he took a lot of shots from Evan, but I know your power is a bit different. So, like, how do you kind of see it playing out?
Honestly, like this dude thinks he's so good and stuff, but he was losing that fight. Like
Hmm.
if he didn't get the cut, I think he would have lost the fight. He was going back and forth on the contender series. He had to win the last round and got the knockout. Like I don't, I think, I think, I don't think he's that guy that he thinks he is, and I'm gonna prove that July 15th.
And then your level of competition, like you've had one of the toughest runs, like in the UFC. Like, how boring do you think that's been? Where you've fought guys like Matt, like Drew, like Bonfim, where like Nazim really hasn't fought any of those guys in that level of competition before.
Exactly. If people look at this dude's record, he ain't fought no one, man. I've been there with the toughest guys in the UFC. I know what it takes to be one of the greats, and this is the start of a great run. I've been with Kevin. Kevin's about to go on a run, and people just gonna really see greatness, and just like I humbled myself to move here, and I know I wasn't the best at stand up, and I made sure we closed those holes because I knew I needed to work on, and I accepted it, and it was scary, but I took the sacrifice, moved out here, and I think I'm gonna reap a lot of blessings from it come July 15th.
Is it kind of weird? Like your career was like kind of flipped. Like starting out, everyone just viewed you as a grappler, and then you get to the UFC knockout mad, and then all these UFC fans just think you're a striker with no grappling now.
People don't even know that's my best aspect. Hopefully someday they get to see it, but here, I think I faced way more elite strikers. I fought tougher competition, and that's going to be shown this fight. Who's really fought people that are killers? I fought killers, and I think that's going to play a big role in this fight. I think I'm more suited. I got more fights. Maybe if he's been training longer, but it don't matter. I fought tougher people my whole career.
And then you always post those videos whenever you get a fight announcement. Like, what kind of sparked that? Because I know it gets the fans like interested in you and watching.
Because for like the young guy trying to get in UFC, they need to know that it's not just a fight anymore. This is entertainment. So I got to make sure I'm playing both roles and making sure I'm being a fighter outside and inside the cage. Because this is business, it's show business. So making sure making myself marketable and making sure I'm putting on exciting fights. That's what I'm here to do.
And Kevin might be one of the best at that in the UFC. Like he does those videos too. He knows how to market himself. Like how beneficial has he been? Where you can kind of lean on him and talk to him about how to really market yourself.
Huge man, like he's the meme king. He's funny. Uh, he's been teaching me a lot. Like I said, huge blessing out here. He's been a good brother. He holds me accountable. He throws the flying knees. Like he just really been keeping me sharp. When I'm down, he'll make sure my mental's right. Making sure when I'm tired, I'm keeping a good face. So it's like I said, it's been fun.
Are you hoping to share a card with Kevin and get, soon? Once you get now, you guys are teammates.
Nah, cause I wanted it to be our night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on his night, I want to be special for him. For me, like I wanted us not take away from each other's shine and just have our own thing. And yeah, I like it to play out like that.
Say you do go out there and knock out Nazim in the first, like you said. Like, what do you think a win does for you?
Um, it just shows the world where I'm at, and like I said, I'm gonna take the right fights. No need to rush. People already know I'm tough, so I'm just gonna just start the run and maybe like get two more fights after this and end the year on a ranked opponent and show people where I belong. Because as people see, Matt Ferrola's doing good. Ferris just did good, beat an undefeated guy. It just shows where I belong. When Terrance shows up, the right Terrance shows up on that night, I know I can compete with anyone in the world. So,
Uh, is that something that's kind of changed mentally for you? Is like not rushing? Because like right when you got in, beat Frivola, like I remember talking to you, like you kind of wanted this quick run to the top of the division. Like, is that something that's changed since going down to Texas? Like, kind of taking this smart approach and like not fighting these top 10 guys on like your first base level contract?
yeah, just knowing there's no need to rush it, man. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and just making sure I'm enjoying the process, trusting in God, and just making sure like I'm enjoying the cage time. No need to rush out. Just go enjoy my job and fight. Be clean. Like I said, show a new Terrence. Just clean Terrence, dominate all 3 rounds, and just making it look easy. That's what I'm here to show. Everyone's seen all the killer Terrence. It's time to see a Terrence that can just dominate 3 rounds and be clean and flawless.
Just final thing, what is the goal then for you this year? Like, get the win on July 15th. Like, what's the ideal rest of the year look like for you?
I love to fight after my birthday. So September 16th, that'd be dope to get on that card. And then fight whenever before the year ends, ranked opponent or whoever. And yeah, get the ball rolling.
Well, Terrence, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this again.
No problem, brother. Have a good day.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, you
ready.
too. All right, we're jumping UFC featherweight Austin Lingo, who's back in action on July 15th. Austin, how's it going, man?
Great, man. Great.
I obviously pretty quick turnaround, like fighting end of March and now already come back middle of July. Like, was this about the right time frame for you?
Definitely. Definitely. That's exactly what I wanted.
Your last fight, like, what do you take away from that one? Like, obviously a pretty weird one where you fight Ricardo or you wait in to fight Ricardo, that fight gets canceled, then you kind of take on a totally different fight like 2 weeks later.
Right. Yeah. Well, I take away, just how I got prepared and be ready for anything, So it's really just know what I know. I found my weaknesses, watched the tape back multiple times, saw what happened. I know what happened, After the fight, I was just like, I knew what happened, and this fight, I've been doing nothing but that. So it's like I've been doing 3 times the work I did for this fight than I did for that fight. So
And then with that one too, like how difficult was it to prepare for that? Just with having to like fight so soon after weighing in against Ricardo, like a different opponent. Then you go into Columbus and fight in front of like or not Columbus, or you fight in front of a crowd. Like how difficult was that for you?
it wasn't too difficult because I've been fighting my whole life, So, but it sucked, because it was like I was prepared for Ricardo, and all of a sudden I had a new opponent, and it messed, it got me.
And then with Costa, like how familiar are you with him?
I've watched a lot of tape on him, so I know his background. I know, a lot of stuff he does. He's a stand-up guy. I know him pretty well. I've been watching him, watched his interviews, watched everything.
And then his debut, like took it on short notice against Thiago Moises, who's a pretty tough out for anyone up at lightweights. Like, what do you take much away from his debut just because it was kind of short notice and up a weight class?
I mean, I saw him in front of a crowd, and that's the way, I saw it get to him, and you can't really judge somebody off of that because that first fight in the UFC is never really, for a lot of people, they call it the jitters or whatever. So I think he's gonna come with it this time, and so am I. I think it's gonna be a great fight.
A bit disappointed it's at the Apex.
Yes, no, I like the Apex because the ring. I don't like the fact that there's no fans though. Like there's only a certain amount of fans, but I like the ring size. The ring size is great.
What do you like about the smaller octagon?
Just it's less likely for someone to footwork and run, or not run, but just do that dance and stuff. Where they do a lot of moving.
Obviously, you're very good boxing, but so with Costa, like, do you think he's probably just gonna want to try to grapple you, especially after the last fight?
For sure, I think he definitely tries to shoot and do something real quick, especially off of a good strike, off a kick, something.
And then with like Fortis, you obviously have a ton of good looks. Like I know Damon Jackson's fighting up pretty soon. Like Fernie's fighting soon. Like are those kind of the main guys you've been working with?
Yep. I got Fernie in my corner and Ramez. So Fernie, he's just great to have in the corner because he studies my opponent. He already knows everything this guy does, and he'll get there early. He'll probably already have a room ready. So yeah, working with him and Damon and everybody is real good. I've been working with Elijah Johns and Steven Peterson a lot too. So
You mentioned Ramiz there. He's obviously in a very good grappler. Like how important has he been in this camp, especially with Costa trying most likely probably wanting to bring it down to the mat?
yeah, Ramez, he's great on the mat, man. He nonstop showing me jiu-jitsu stuff that I didn't even know, So it's really good to have Ramez in the corner.
How do you kind of see it playing out then?
First round, I think we feel each other out. We be smart because he gassed in his debut, and I kind of fell apart in my last fight. So I think we both play it smart, and we both just know what each other's know that it's a 3-round fight, most likely. So I think we both try to win the first, and then the second, it's really us just looking at each other from the corner, like, are you done? Or are you who's gas? Who isn't? So, but I think we come out banging in the second.
Do you think that like how kind of like tired you got in that last fight was just due to back-to-back weight cuts so quickly?
Definitely, man. It was back-to-back weight cuts and not getting back to my cardio immediately to where I was like, because it was just weird, just having those multiple weight cuts back to back. I was like, my body was shutting down. I felt like crap, and but I stuck it out, man. No one could tell. I was ready.
Do you kind of wish you should have asked for like a catch weight then for that last fight?
Definitely. I think 150, 155 would have been, because I know Landwehr, he's a freaking Terminator. I think I could have definitely took him on at 155 or 150.
And then rebounding here, like, what do you think a win over Costa, especially if you do go out there and finish him? Like, what do you think that does for you in this division?
I think it puts me up there. A few good ranks, maybe like number 30 something. But after that, call out somebody in the top, close to the top 15, and then 2 more fights after that, top 15, maybe a fight after that.
Do you go about like kind of looking at the roster, like having a call out ready, or is that someone like Safe talks to you about? Like, how do you kind of go about getting ready for a call out?
Sometimes I look at the roster, but I don't really call people out.
Yeah.
I let the UFC do the matchmaking, and I just take, if they want, whoever they throw me, they want to throw me someone, a ground guy, wrestler, or a boxer, whatever. I'll fight them. I'll fight anybody.
What is kind of the goal then for you the rest of the year?
2 more fights after this, 3 more, or hopefully 2 after this one.
Yeah.
I get one maybe like November or October. October would be great, and then get one in December, and then call it a year.
And hopefully in front of fans as well.
For sure, definitely get a big crowd.
Just final thing, like I know obviously the last fight was in Texas, but just short notice. Like, are you kind of hoping you kind of right that wrong, get back to Texas pretty soon, then get on that another card?
Definitely, man. I love fighting in my home state, so definitely redeem myself, and show Texas what I can do.
Well, Austin, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're jumping UFC lightweight Evan Elder, who's back in action on July 15th. Evan, how's it going, man?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Like, before we get into this one, I want to touch on the last fight. Like, what a fight that was. Like, obviously, it was a pretty crazy fight. Like, for you, like, what do you take away from that fight? Because I thought you were winning up until they kind of stopped it due to the cut.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I took away a lot from that fight. Actually, I think they showed us the judges' scorecards after the fight. All 3 judges had me up 2-0 on the scorecards. So, regardless, it doesn't really matter, man. I'm so thankful for the experience, and it was an amazing fight. Learned so much. Great opponent. I think Nazim's gonna have an amazing career. Dude's a freaking savage. But a lot of takeaways from the fight. I felt like there was some definitely, a couple things I did well, but a lot of things that I needed to improve on. And I'd say the biggest takeaway as far as for me, it was a good confidence boost. I got a lot of confidence in my chin, my power, my conditioning, and just I know now that I just need to get out there and be confident and pull the trigger, execute my techniques to the best of my ability. And took away had a lot of stuff that I wanted to work on after that fight, and I feel like I've really made a lot of improvements since then, and I can't wait to show it in this next one.
And then for you, like that fight, like how kind of frustrating was that though to get stopped due to the cut? Because I know, like obviously your second UFC fight, still looking for that first win, and like that was kind of the fight that was going your way, and to have it kind of sort of like taken away from you, like how frustrating was that for you?
Man, I was devastated when it happened. Every single time I rewatch the fight, I can see when the doctor stops it. I'm just like, what? It feels like they ripped my heart out of my chest, man. But devastated in the moment. When I seen the cut, I couldn't argue it. I was like, thank you guys for, keeping my health and safety the number one priority. So, um, it is what it is, man. I trust in God's plan, and I know that His plan far far succeeds mine, whatever I can think of for myself. So um, I think that He always has my best interest in at heart, and I think that it actually worked out really well. Even though it didn't go the way I planned, it ended up a lot of great things happened from it. I got the fight of the night bonus, got a lot of attention because of the controversy of the fight, with it being an early stoppage, whatever they want to say. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It's the way a lot of great things, and on to the next. No time to dwell about the past.
And then with like after that cut, like how long did it kind of take you to heal up? Then like was this the kind of time frame you were expecting then after that fight?
Yeah, this is great to me, man. The cut I want to say took 4 or 5 weeks. I think I gave it 6 weeks no contact. It might have been more than that. It might have been 6 or 8 weeks no contact. It was a pretty deep cut. I wanted to make sure it healed well. It seems as if it did so. We'll find out in this fight. Hopefully, man, knock on wood, pray to God that something like that doesn't happen again. I'd be devastated if I had another fight stopped due to a cut. But um, the time frame, for this to happen was fine with me. I was been back in the gym right away, even with the cut while the cut was healing, hitting pads, hitting the bag, drilling and stuff. But time frame works out great for me, man. I've had a great camp, and we still got what 2.5 weeks, and I'm gonna finish up camp strong, and hopefully everything goes to plan.
And with your opponent in Valdez, like how familiar are you with him?
I wasn't before I got the fight, but I've done a ton of tape study and done my due diligence to research him as much as possible. Um, I love the fight, man. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a good fight for me. I think it's a great matchup all the way around. I think we're both going to be fighting for our job. We're both on a two-fight skid, so I think it's going to make it for even higher stakes, more tension, and probably going to make it a better fight. Um, I think he's a decent boxer. He likes to box. He's got a good low kick. He doesn't have great wrestling. Decent jiu-jitsu, does okay once he gets to the floor. But I think his greatest skill set is his toughness and his durability. He's going to come conditioned, ready to fight. He's tough as nails, won't give up for a second. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for me to showcase and display some of my skills, because he's going to hang in there and he's going to make me earn every bit of it.
Yeah, I think like his contender series playing the Matt Fravol fight are kind of ones that show him perfectly of like he just kind of likes to stand and bang and see who kind of
Yeah.
drops first. So like, is that the kind of fight you're expecting here? Is to one just kind of stand and trade? Do you think it's going to hit the mat at some point?
No, I think it's definitely going to hit the mat at some point. I think that he likes to fight that way, but I think he is also. I've seen him evolve in the last couple fights just from the tape study. Um, I think he's gonna have a much more technical approach because he knows he can't just go out there and go crazy because if he loses, he's gonna lose his job. So I think we both feel the same way of by any means we have to get a win. I think that's how we're both probably looking at this fight. So we're gonna probably play it smart and see who brings the better game plan to the table, who's more conditioned and more willing to leave it all out there. But because of that, I think it's going to start a little bit slower, but I do think at some point it'll get very interesting because that's the fighter that he likes to be, and I won't shy away from that fight either. So, my game plan is to if that fight happens, if it happens like that, it happens. I'm always down for something like that, but like I said, man, I got to get my hand raised by any means. So I'm going to be much more on the technical side and trying to just strategically pick him apart, just try to dominate.
And then with this one, like he has shown to be pretty durable. Like I know Matt knocked him out, but like that was after like he got dropped like 6 or 7 times. So like, how do you
Yeah.
kind of deal with that when like you think you have him hurt, like, especially like when you like Matt's, but like Matt, I thought Adam was gonna get him out of there like pretty early and just kept on getting up and kind of keep marching forward.
Yeah, I think he thought he was going to get him out of there early too, and that's why he just empty the gas tank. And I personally probably won't take that approach because I know his durability. But like I'm just gonna be persistent, man. If I hurt you, I'm just gonna stay on you. I'm not gonna try to empty the gas tank and be like, oh, this is my only shot. I have to finish you right now. I think that I can finish you, um, later down the road. If I hurt you once, I can do it again and do it again and do it again until you can't take it anymore. And then, even if, like I said, man, I got to get my hand raised by any means. So even if I got to do that over and over and over again until it gets to decision, and I win on the judges' scorecards, it is what it is.
How much pressure is on you going into this one? Like, kind of never want to lose 3 in a row in the UFC. Like, that's kind of the number where people get cuts. Like, how much pressure is on you?
I was definitely felt like there was a lot of pressure whenever I first got the fight announcement. I was like, I got to win this one, man. We got to get this one done. That's what I was telling myself. And, but dude, I believe in God's plan for me so much, man, that I think that He won't let anything happen that isn't supposed to. And worst case scenario, man, I lose this fight, I get cut. I'll work my way back. It's not the end of the world. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm 26, just turned 26, so I still got time. Like I said, worst case scenario, I lose this fight. I go outside the UFC and get a couple more wins, and I'm back in a couple years, and I'm way better by that time. The goal for me is always to be improving and always getting better. So a couple year layoff from the UFC, I'm just gonna come back a whole new dude and dominate once I get back. So to me, the pressure is not completely there. I think that obviously I would love. I'm doing everything in my power to win this fight, and honestly, I really don't see it going any other way. I can't. I have to get my hand raised, but I'm also just I don't fear the unknown. And for what will happen if I do lose. So I'm going in there with a mindset of uh I have to win. There's no other option, but I'm also not afraid if it goes any other way. So no, not a real whole lot of extra added pressure. Like I said, there was at first, but I've overcame that for sure.
And then for you, like, you are at a good camp as well at Killcliff. Like, how beneficial do you think that is? Where you that obviously helps you improve, but you kind of look at the world champions guys they have and like all the top guys. Like, how beneficial has that been? You think for you?
Man, I think it's huge. Shout out to my main training partner right now, Christos Yagos. He's he's been giving me such a good look for this fight, and I think he's just a much better version of the guy that I'm fighting in all areas. So I'm getting used to competing with him, and uh, I think that having the high level bodies, man, is just so important because you're not going to get showed anything that you haven't been exposed to yet. A lot of times that's where we get in trouble is when we're like, oh my gosh, I don't have any defense for this because I haven't been exposed to this. And I don't think that's gonna be a problem with where I train because there's so many different styles, so many different looks, and all at the highest level. It's like everybody there is just an absolute killer, and uh, you get to train with savages on a daily basis. There's no easy rounds, and I really think that will show in the fight.
How we kind of talked about it a bit, like how do you kind of see it playing out then?
Yeah, man, I can't really say that I have a specific way that I think it's going to play out. I see me getting the finish. I would love to get him out of there early, just as always. Hopefully get a bonus, but whether it's a first round knockout or if it's a 3 round freaking drug out absolute battle, it doesn't matter. As long as I got to get my hand raised, man, and I will do, whether it's like I said by first round KO, if I sub him on the ground, if I got to grind him out and just dog it for 3 rounds and scrape out a win, that's what's going to happen. But one way or the other, I'm going to leave and get my hand raised.
What do you think a win over Valdez does for you then?
I actually think I think it'll be really good because though I've had 2 losses in the UFC, I think they were fun. They were exciting showings at least. I think that it was definitely fan friendly both of the fights, and to get a win now will really kind of catapult my career forward, I believe, and kind of I really see it playing two different ways. If I lose, I feel like the last 2 fights will have been kind of a scratch, kind of for
Mhm.
nothing. But if I win, those last 2 fights weren't for nothing. It's like I said, though they were losses, they were good outings, And now I got the win to back this up and then keep me in the UFC and propel my career forward. So I think a win is going to be a big deal for my career.
And hopefully the next fight's in front of a crowd for you.
Dude, that's what I'm calling out next. Is I'm ready to get out of the Apex. I would love to get in an arena. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't put this one on an arena just because I really think this is going to be a good fight because I think it definitely has all the possibility to be
Mhm.
fight of the night or just a good fan friendly fight. Two bangers that are fighting for their job. Ready to leave it all out there and uh, leave everything in the cage.
And then just final thing, like what is the goal then for the rest of the year? Like fighting already again in July, like kind of could set you up to have at least one more.
Yeah, I would love to fight one more time. In a perfect world, I go in there, get my hand raised by any means. Hopefully, don't take too much damage, so I can get right back to training and improving, and then hop back in there November, December timeframe, somewhere along there.
Well, Evan, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again.
Absolutely, Cole. Thank you, man.